In this video, we're going to explain some of the different things we look at in a piece of wood before we start working with it. And I've just started marking out some of the things then that we would look for. So for instance, you got that knot there, okay? That I've circled, we've got the penciled circle, we've got another one there. Knots can be unpredictable for carving. You've got a dead knot, you've got a live knot as well. If anyone wants those explained, put it in the comments section below. We can do another video or whatever. But for this one, I'm just explaining purely some of the things that we would look for. We've got other knots. The bark, of course, the bark, that's got to come off. So that's no use to us for carving this. This particular wood is juniper, and it comes from La Mancha in the middle of Spain. We've explained it on a few different videos. You do get with this, you do see signs of woodworm. Generally, there's one there. Generally, I find with this that they will go into the bark, but as a general rule, they don't tend to go into the wood itself. If they do go into the wood, they tend to go a bit into the sapwood, which is this wood on the edge here. They certainly don't like the heartwood, so that's usually clear of woodworm. You may have to check it out. If you're ever suspicious of a piece of wood, yeah, don't proceed. Again, when it comes to wood boring insects like that, you have things, things like wood preservers that you can treat them with to kill it off, to break the cycle. So there are things that can be done. But generally, if it's a piece of wood you're not happy with, you're suspicious, go and find another piece of wood. Other things then we would assess the wood for, and I'm just looking on the edges. I look on the edge of the wood. When it dries out, because we're working, we make our love spoons from seasoned timbers. Yeah, just found one there. You get splitting on the ends. So for instance, we got a split that we can visibly see running down that sort of distance there. There's another one there, and I can see that's run into there. Okay, so we got two definite splits there. Now that's what we can see. It's liable that they come further down. So if I'm going to mark out a love spoon, if I go and mark it out there, on the wood, there's a good chance you're going to have a dirty, great, huge split running through it. Some people are not bothered, but personally, I don't think that's a good thing at all. So I would start my marking out more sort of down here. So we're looking at, we got that waney edge there on with the bark. So I know then that if I start marking out there, I wouldn't actually do that because we got this knot there. So what I would do is to probably go to the side of the knot. And if I was marking out a love spoon, I would probably, from my initial sort of assessments, I would be marking it out somewhere about there. If Dad was doing this, he would probably have other ideas as well. What we're always looking for is how do we get the most out of our wood. So probably then, you've probably got room to do another love spoon somewhere in about there. So we can get one love spoon on one side, one the other side. So that's some of the things then that we're looking for on that piece of wood. This has been reclaimed from some furniture. So that one there, you can see that is where there's been, that some sort of hinge. I think I got a feeling this has come off like a drop leaf table. So where they've connected it, we know we've got that hinge there. So in that area, you turn it round, and this is where it can be quite important to do a good assessment of your wood, because if you're rushing it and you just check quickly, you look at that and you think, oh yeah, that's lovely and clean. So you mark it out, and then you start your process, start cutting out, and then you turn it over, and bang, you got that. So that would be an area that we would sort of avoid carving in. There's also there's a screw has been put in there, and in there, we're looking, where does that come out? It doesn't come out on the other side. That area we'd be avoiding. You may get away with doing something like put it in the bowl of the spoon. There's a little blemish there in the woods. Not sure what that's about. Now the interesting thing here as well, and this is something that you can get caught out with, especially when you're buying wood and in the form of furniture. There's a little ridge here, and that could suggest is either where it's been put through the thickness of the planer, or that's two pieces of wood that have been stuck together. So again, I would do some investigation, because you don't want to go and mark out your spoon. And all the things I'm explaining are all from mistakes that we've made. We're not trying to say that we're perfect and we don't make these mistakes. I've made plenty. So that if you were marking your love spoon out there, and you find out that yes, it is two pieces of wood stuck together, you've now got two pieces of wood that have been stuck together to make that piece of furniture. So that's another thing that we look for, again, on the ends. And you check that end grain. The end grain on the woods, when we're looking at the end grain on the wood, it is suggesting, from the way it looks, it is suggesting to me that it isn't stuck together. No, it's not. I can see what it is. I'm looking at the medullary ray and I can see they're continuous. So that line there, I would suggest, is where it's been put through the thickness of the planer. That's all that is. So we should be fine. What we would be looking at then is any splitting on the end, and how can we get the most out of that piece of wood. So you get a love spoon there. I'd probably then mark out a bigger love spoon there. Probably something like this. You've got beautiful figuring in the grain. It's a clean piece of wood. As we were saying before, though, I'm saying that we're not going to be able to do that. We would, we would mark out a love spoon about there, and then another one just about there. We're always looking for how do we get the maximum out of the individual piece of wood. So that's what we're looking at. Both examples there, they're straight grain, nice and easy to work in. It's because basically when we're processing a wood, it's always straight grain. So this one here, a piece of mahogany. Again, that's actually come from a door frame, a window frame. So you're looking for any sort of signs of any rot or anything like that. That looks pretty good. Yeah, I'm happy. There is a little sign of something there. I'm checking that with my thumb. A little bit of rot at the end there. That's not so good. Mark the spoon out there. We're looking for any screw holes, nail holes. I'm pretty happy with that piece there. That might be good for a larger love spoon. Here then, another piece of wood that's come off some furniture. Now there's a little recess. There's a recess cut in that piece of wood, so we'd have to be careful of that. It's a beautiful bit of grain, really lovely character in that wood. That's lovely stuff. That's a piece of oak again, really nice stuff. There's another recess, and where it's glued as well. Lovely character in that with all that medullary ray. That's going to make beautiful spoons. I would suggest that we're going to have to make smaller spoons, because it feels a bit challenging, that piece of wood. I don't know, there's just something about it that feels a bit challenging. We've also, just by here, we got another knot. So that again makes it a bit more challenging. That has come off the same table, by the look of it. That looks like the drop leaf table that we bought. There's some lovely character in it. It does feel challenging, but we will get plenty of love spoons out of that. So again, anyone looking for, it's another video we're going to do, is sourcing. Another piece of the juniper from Spain, very similar to one. I would suggest that has actually been cut. It's a piece that's been cut from the same plank. We got some knots, a few there. This one is, that's going to be difficult. That on the end there, no good. We've got a split on the end. So, it's just giving you an idea. You can see that one goes straight through. you know, a few signs. We've got the bark on the end there. It's the same sorts of things again, splitting on the end, knots, direction of the grain, anything like wood boring insects, that sort of thing. So yeah, again, we'll get plenty out of that piece of wood. Now this one, this is a piece of yew. We're looking at that one there. And the sapwood looks a little bit, looks like there's a little bit of rot in it. Definitely there. There you go. You can see that's actually breaking off in my hand. So you've got a bit of rot here. I can just tell that from, I know we're in the bark there as well, but just inside the bark as well, there's a little bit of rot. This looks a bit soft, that there. So I would be cautious with that. We got a big split running down there. You turn it over, there's a line here, a white line, and another one here, and that suggests splitting to me. So this piece of wood I would probably end up using for smaller love spoons. It looks as well like there's the grain is sort of going in different directions, and then we got some splitting on the ends as well, and then down here, yeah, that's definitely got a bit, you know, that's a bit of rot there. That will be a useful little insight into what we do, how we go about marking out our spoons, the sort of things that we look for in the wood, the issues that we try to identify before we start. It's a skill in itself, and it's an important skill to develop because you eliminate a lot of your problems before they sort of occur. If you're not checking your wood over, if you just go straight into it and think there's a piece of wood and I'll do whatever, that then you can end up encountering problems and more disappointment as you go through the process. As always, we like to emphasise, the reason we know this, we're working with wood all the time, and any mistakes in terms of marking out, I can guarantee we've made them all 1,000 times ourselves. Thank you all again. We'll be back soon with more videos, and for anyone who hasn't, don't forget to subscribe, and if you've enjoyed what we've done, put a little like.